Welcome. We bring you Japan's latest news every day. AI sums up what matters, so you can stay informed in English in just a few minutes. If you find it helpful, please like and subscribe. Liberal Democratic Party approves Imperial House law revision to secure number of imperial family members. The Liberal Democratic Party has approved a revision to the Imperial House law to address the declining number of imperial family members. The proposed amendments include a system allowing female imperial family members to remain in the imperial household while retaining their imperial status after marriage, as well as a framework for adopting male descendants from former imperial branches as successors. These proposals were approved at an extraordinary meeting of the LDP's General Council on the 29th. The maintenance of imperial status for female family members would strengthen the stability of the imperial institution while marking an important change in the structure of the imperial system. The acceptance of adoptees from former imperial branches is positioned as a measure that prioritizes the historical continuity of the imperial line. The revision is expected to undergo deliberation in the Diet before moving toward a final decision. Securing an adequate number of imperial family members has become a critical issue for the preservation of the imperial system. 29-year-old man arrested on suspicion of robbery and murder in Mihara, Hiroshima body discovery case. In connection with the discovery of a local self-employed businessman's body in Mihara, Hiroshima Prefecture in April, police arrested a 29-year-old man on suspicion of robbery and murder on the 29th. According to police investigation, the suspect allegedly killed the victim and buried the body underground. The victim was a man who ran a business in the city and was discovered dead after going missing. Following the suspect's identification, police carefully advanced their investigation, accumulating evidence that led to the arrest. Meanwhile, the suspect is denying the allegations during police questioning, and authorities say they plan to conduct further detailed investigations into the circumstances and motive of the case. EU Regulatory Committee recommends withdrawal of vasculitis drug, Tabneos, from market. The EU's Regulatory Authority Committee has recommended the withdrawal of market approval for Tabneos, a treatment drug for the rare disease vasculitis. The medication has been linked to deaths among patients treated in Japan, and the committee determined that the drug's benefits have not been proven to outweigh its risks. Vasculitis is a rare disease characterized by inflammation of blood vessels, with limited treatment options available, making this decision potentially significant for patients and medical professionals. The final decision by EU authorities is now pending. Regulatory Reform Council decides on recommendation to promote demonstration tests of AI-powered bipedal robots. Japan's Regulatory Reform Promotion Council has decided on a recommendation to promote demonstration experiments of bipedal robots utilizing AI technology. The recommendation points out the importance of clarifying the legal status of robots using physical AI. Currently, demonstration tests of such robots on public roads face a challenge in advancing practical implementation due to ambiguous legal positioning. The recommendation calls for environmental improvements to promote demonstration experiments on public roads, and it is expected that robot technology development and social implementation will accelerate going forward. Based on the content of the recommendation, the government plans to consider necessary legal reforms and regulatory easing measures. Clinical trial begins for pig kidney xenotransplant to humans at Hokkaido University and others. A new development is underway toward practical implementation of xenotransplantation, in which animal organs are transplanted into humans. A venture company spun off from Meiji University has announced that it will begin clinical trials transplanting pig kidneys into patients with severe kidney failure at Hokkaido University Hospital and other facilities within the next 2 years. Patients with kidney failure continue to depend on dialysis treatment, and many cannot receive transplants due to a severe shortage of donors. Xenotransplantation using pig organs is expected to be a key solution to address this critical donor shortage. In this clinical trial, the safety and efficacy of kidneys harvested from genetically modified pigs will be assessed. This appears to be an important step forward toward a new era in transplant medicine. New historical document discovered. Kesennuma confirmed as birthplace of Chiba Shusaku, founder of Hokusin Itto-ryu swordsmanship. A long-standing dispute over the birthplace of Chiba Shusaku, a renowned swordmaster from the late Edo period, may finally be coming to an end. A newly discovered historical document indicates that Chiba Shusaku, founder of the Hokusin Itto-ryu school of swordsmanship, was born in present-day Kesennuma city in Miyagi Prefecture. Until now, multiple regions, including Rikuzen Takata City in Iwate Prefecture, have claimed to be his birthplace, fueling ongoing debate. However, this newly found document could prove decisive in settling the controversy. Chiba Shusaku was a swordsman who flourished in the late Edo period, trained many disciples, and exerted significant influence on the martial arts world. Local history researchers and cultural experts are hopeful that this discovery will further enhance the region's value as a cultural heritage site. Japan expresses serious concerns over joint Chinese and Russian bomber flights, pledges enhanced vigilance and monitoring. Chief Cabinet Secretary Mihara announced at a press conference that Japan has conveyed serious concerns to both China and Russia through diplomatic channels regarding a joint flight by Chinese and Russian military bombers around Japanese airspace on the 27th. The flight is being closely watched as a development occurring amid heightened tensions over the Ukraine situation. The Chief Cabinet Secretary indicated that the government will strengthen surveillance and monitoring going forward and will take all necessary measures in response to any territorial airspace violations. The Defense Ministry has scrambled Self-Defense Force fighter jets to respond to the situation. The government has stated its policy to handle these developments with a calm yet firm stance. Lower House seat reduction bill advances in Political Reform Committee amid opposition boycott. The Political Reform Special Committee of the House of Representatives began deliberations on a bill to reduce the number of lower house seats on the 29th, with an explanation of its purpose. However, the proceedings took place with the opposition parties absent, after they strongly protested the ruling coalition's committee chair's decision to convene the meeting on his own authority. The bill aims to reduce the number of House of Representatives seats, but the opposition parties are objecting, arguing that the committee was convened without sufficient prior consultation. While the ruling coalition is pushing forward with deliberations, emphasizing the necessity of political reform, the opposition's absence has limited the scope of discussion in the committee. The direction of future deliberations is being closely watched. China's May new vehicle sales decline across multiple manufacturers as Middle East tensions take their toll. Major automakers have reported declining new vehicle sales in China for May, with sales declines affecting multiple manufacturers and spreading across the broader market. Rising gasoline prices stemming from escalating tensions in the Middle East are cited as a significant factor. As fuel costs increase, consumers are increasingly reluctant to purchase conventional gasoline vehicles, with sales of traditional engine cars declining particularly sharply. Meanwhile, interest in fuel-efficient vehicles such as electric cars is growing, but high price points are preventing rapid sales expansion. Automakers are being forced to reassess their sales strategies in response to these changing market conditions. Stock prices rise modestly as investors buy back fallen shares in afternoon trading. The Nikkei average edged higher on the Tokyo Stock Exchange at the start of the week on the 29th. Shortly after opening, sell orders emerged on some AI and semiconductor-related stocks, pushing prices lower. However, as afternoon trading got underway, buying activity returned to shares that had declined, allowing the market to recover. Market observers attribute this to growing momentum among investors to buy back oversold stocks. Following last week's market movements, investors focused on stocks perceived as undervalued and increased buy orders at lower price points, driving the overall gain. Making money from local assets. Today's business news for Monday, June 29th. Here's today's economic report. Across the nation, municipalities and companies are increasingly pursuing initiatives to generate revenue by leveraging local assets. Communities are finding new ways to utilize unique regional resources, including historic buildings, natural resources, and human talent, through tourism and business ventures. These regional revitalization efforts are expected to help address challenges such as population decline and local economic stagnation. Meanwhile, as work styles continue to diversify, new employment models that connect people with their communities are also gaining attention. In this segment, we bring you a wide range of information including the latest business trends, useful services, and startup company news. We encourage you to take an interest in how communities can harness their assets to build economic strength. China announces export ban on dual-use items to Japan, adding 20 Japanese organizations and companies. China's Ministry of Commerce announced on the 29th that it will add 20 Japanese organizations and companies, including Japan's Defense Ministry Institute for Defense Analyses, to its export control list. China says it is prohibiting exports of dual-use items from China to these entities, citing their involvement in enhancing Japan's military capabilities. China implemented similar measures last month, and tensions between the two countries in the defense and technology sectors are deepening. The move is seen as China's countermeasure as Japan advances its defense capabilities. The dual-use items subject to export controls are expected to include a wide range of industrial equipment such as semiconductor manufacturing equipment, raising concerns about the impact on Japanese companies. Thai mother sentenced to 7.5 years in prison for human trafficking of her young daughter. A Thai court has handed down a sentence of 7.5 years in prison to a mother who trafficked her own daughter. The victim was a 12-year-old Thai national who was forced to provide sexual services at an establishment in the city. This case represents serious child abuse and highlights the international human trafficking problem. The mother is believed to have exploited her own daughter for financial gain. Thai judicial authorities imposed the harsh sentence to demonstrate their firm stance against child abuse and human trafficking. This ruling represents an important step forward in protecting children's rights. Venezuela earthquake death toll exceeds 1,400. 33 survivors rescued over the weekend. The critical 72-hour window for finding survivors has now passed following a series of massive earthquakes that struck Venezuela. Authorities announced on the 28th that the death toll has reached at least 1,450. Rescue workers continue their desperate efforts, noting that people trapped under rubble may still be alive if they have access to food and water, and miraculous rescues are still being reported. On the evening of the 24th, morning of the 25th Japan time, two powerful earthquakes with magnitudes of 7.2 and 7.5 struck the northern coast of Venezuela in succession, just 39 seconds apart. Hundreds of buildings collapsed, trapping many people in the rubble. Tens of thousands of people remain missing. As time passes and hopes of finding survivors diminish, families continue to dig through the debris with their bare hands, desperately searching for their loved ones. One resident told the BBC they could hear voices coming from under the rubble but were unable to move heavy concrete blocks themselves, anxiously waiting for heavy machinery to arrive. In response, Interim President Delcy Rodriguez has been sharing hopeful messages on social media. She announced that 33 survivors were rescued from the rubble over the weekend, including two 11-year-old boys. The rescue team also posted video footage of one boy, Moses, being pulled from the debris. According to Colombia's National Disaster Risk Management Unit, UNGRD, which is providing rescue support, Moses was found under approximately 3 meters of accumulated rubble. Colombian rescue teams reached him on the 27th after 6 hours of what they described as precision work. According to Reuters, rescue workers reported via radio that Moses's mother and siblings were beside him in the rubble, but both were already dead. US and Iran exchange attacks, each accusing the other of violating ceasefire. On the 27th, the United States conducted a new airstrike against Iran following a drone attack on a Panama-flagged tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, Iran announced it had launched retaliatory attacks against US-related infrastructure in the Middle East region. US Central Command, CENTCOM, issued a statement explaining that it had struck multiple targets across Iran in direct response to ongoing attacks against commercial vessels. In response, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, announced through state media that it had launched multiple missiles and drones at US-related infrastructure in Kuwait and Bahrain. After each carried out their attacks, the US and Iran accused each other of violating the ceasefire. In its statement, US Central Command said, Iran was given an opportunity to uphold the ceasefire agreement. However, Iranian forces chose not to comply by firing one-way attack drones at the Panama-flagged tanker Kiku. Consequently, US fighter jets attacked 10 Iranian military targets at multiple points around the Strait of Hormuz, according to CENTCOM. The targets included military equipment, communication systems, air defense positions, and drone storage facilities.